G'day crew, welcome to Goat Fantasy. Never thought I'd say this, it's the Todd Marshall edition. Goat Fantasy brought to you by checkmyrate.au. Visit the website, it's free to use. Take control of your financial future. Rain is coming down. I'm looking out the window, gather around. It is pouring. I myself am just poring over this Port Adelaide press conference from this morning. So I went out to Alberton with Josh Carr speaking to the media. And of course, right now, a fantasy favourite is Todd Marshall, who's missed the last couple of weeks with an ankle injury. So the news from Port Adelaide is that there is a strong expectation from the club that he will play. They just felt they didn't want to guarantee anything before he trained today and went through match sim, because essentially last week he rolled his ankle late in the week, which ruled him out of the game against Richmond. So it looks like good news for owners, and Marshall's going to be back. So from a fantasy perspective, he's priced at 433k with a break-even of 9. And in Supercoach, he's on the bubble, so he's averaging 81.5, and he's priced at a lowly 147k. So if you don't have him in Supercoach and you want to try and make some cash from your F6, then I think he's a play this week for you. If you've got the trades in hand, certainly that roll down back for him looks pretty solid. Let's hope the weather clears up for him and he can get plenty of the ball in hand. So I just wanted to do some sort of around the ground stuff because there's a bit going on. So Christian Petrarca ruled out of this week. So it was always likely, and we were told, I was told by the club that when it said 1 to 3, yes, there was a really unlikely outside chance that maybe he'd be back for gather round, but the likelihood was that it was at the longer end, or at least closer to 2 weeks. So that's what it looks like landing at the moment. So if you have held Christian Petrarca in Supercoach, you're going to have to hang on just one more week before you get him back. But everyone's going to want him back in their side. So if you've survived, then you're going to end up with a gun in your forward line who we're all going to be chasing as the year goes on. And as far as AFL fantasy goes, well, there's going to come a time during upgrade season that we'll be able to get him back. So Petrarca has recovered pretty well from that hamstring, considering it was a sort of a medium grade. He hasn't actually been out that long, and he's only missed one game for the Suns since. So that's good news that he's back soon. And then at the Bulldogs, they're still trying to work through, particularly this Ed Richards injury, so soreness at the back of the knee. Was struggling to kick during the warm-up last week. That's why he ended up being a very late withdrawal. So the club have said it could be as much as 2 to 3 if it doesn't settle, but there's a chance that it might only be one more for Richards. So the timeline is a bit murky. It's sort of hard to get a handle on, and that's going to be a tough one for you if you've got him in Supercoach, whether you want to just pull the trigger this week and trade him out, or whether you can hang on a bit longer. Tim English is a bit more set in stone, I think. I don't think there's a scenario where you're holding him. He's going to miss at least 3 weeks. They think it's at the lower end of an MCL injury, more of a strain or a sprain than something more serious. So that means it looks like it's going to be about 3 weeks. So Lewis Emmett is going to make his debut in the ruck for the Bombers. In the ruck for the Western Bulldogs against Hawthorn this week. Tough assignment. First up against the dual rucks of Meek and Reeves. And I don't see us trading into him as a cash cow, given English is not too far away, particularly not with Oscar Steen there available as sort of that R3 if we want it. Collingwood do have a debutant, speaking of the Pies. So Angry Anderson is going to play Angus, who's put up really good numbers across his career, Sandful and Waffle as well. And I think when they took him, they were thinking that he would be able to be plugged in and played this season. And that's what they've done. They're going to have a different look in their midfield. So I think he might end up being someone, if he looks good from the start, that we might be able to get on and make some cash out of. So the Magpies actually train this afternoon in Adelaide, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get to because I'll be at the ground preparing for AFL tonight. So my plan is to hit up some reporters who are here to get a bit of an idea of how Nick is looking at the captain's run. The weather hasn't been great, but the Dockers have almost had to cancel their captain's run because there's been some lightning around. But it's expected to clear up this afternoon, so hopefully the Pies do actually have a decent run around, and we can get some vision of Dacos to see how he looks, because, geez, he has looked shocking with that calf injury. And apologies to those who listened to the podcast yesterday because I accidentally said quad. But it is a calf for Nick. So we'll be able to watch his warm-up tomorrow night at the ground. That's Friday night. So keep across all of that. Just keep Twitter handy so we can watch Nick and what he does and how he's looking, because another week without one of our gun mids would be extremely annoying. So I just wanted to finish today with a little pod idea, and it won't come as a major surprise. And to be honest, maybe it's already been talked about this week, but I've kind of missed it in the rush to get over to Adelaide and get stuck in here. But Port Adelaide, there is a very affordable forward who is now playing in defence. So if you were watching that Richmond-Port Adelaide game last week, you've seen that Darcy Byrne-Jones switched into his old role as a defender. He's priced at $615,000 in AFL fantasy. He knocked out 107 last week, and his break-even is now 27. In Supercoach, he's $346K. He hit 103 in Supercoach last week. He's pretty much sort of fairly priced. I think he went up 2 or 3K in Supercoach. So his break-even's probably sitting at like 60 or something. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? I think I don't mind it in fantasy. Supercoach, perhaps it's a bit more of a risk given we don't know how long this role is going to stick. But Josh Carr said today he's staying in defence. So in your draft leagues, if you just want to pick up Darcy Byrne-Jones, if he's sitting there on the waivers, and if you're looking for a budget forward, I reckon we need to see it one more week, and let's see how the role is, how much ball he gets in hand against St Kilda on Sunday. But for a really budget, mid-price forward, just to get us through to the buys and boost a bit of scoring, could we get a Lombard up to a Darcy Byrne-Jones or something like that? Can we get a little bit creative next week? I know Tom Sparrow's been popular this week as a budget forward play, because apart from round one, his scoring's been really strong as a midfielder, and they're playing a pretty tight rotation. But this is just an alternative as Sparrow starts to get a bit more expensive. Could we go DBJ? Just a little one for you this afternoon. All right, Go Fantasy out. We'll chat soon.